You know how summer is basically the season for huge blockbuster movies? Or when you picture a friendly alien, you probably think of something kind of gentle with big eyes, right? Well, there's a reason for that. And that reason, so often, points back to one guy, Steven Spielberg. He's not just a director, he's pretty much the architect of how we experience movies today.
I love this idea of background radiation. It's the perfect way to describe it. His influence is just everywhere, right? It's so woven into our culture that most of the time we don't even see it. It's in the DNA of basically every big movie, every TV show, even the rides you go on at a theme park. So, the big question is, how? How did one filmmaker become the blueprint for, well, the entire modern movie industry? It's a heck of a story. It's part revolutionary business strategy, part mind-blowing technology, and, as we'll see, it's all tied to something deeply personal. Okay, so let's get into it. It all kicks off back in 1975. The movie, a little film about a shark that was famously a complete disaster to make. But here's the crazy part. This monster movie, born out of chaos, accidentally rewrote the entire playbook for Hollywood. It wasn't just a movie, it was a total earthquake for the business.
You know the scariest thing about Jaws? It was a total accident. Seriously. The mechanical shark, which the crew nicknamed Bruce, was a complete piece of junk. It never worked. So a very young Spielberg had to figure something else out, and what he did was genius. Instead of showing the shark, he just hinted at it. You know, with that iconic music? Dun dun dun. And those shots from the shark's point of view. And the result? Pure terror. It got inside your head, way scarier than some fake-looking rubber shark ever could have been.
But the real revolution wasn't just what was on screen, it was the business plan. I mean, Spielberg and Universal basically took the old Hollywood playbook and just threw it in the trash. See, movies used to come out in the fall, for award season. They targeted summer. Instead of opening in just a few big cities, they blasted it out to over 400 screens at once. And the TV ads, they were everywhere. The whole goal shifted. It wasn't a marathon anymore. It was an all-out sprint to make a ton of money that first weekend and turn the movie into a can't-miss event.
And you can really see the difference here. The old way, a slow trickle. The new Jaws model, a massive flood, hitting the whole country at once. It took a movie opening from a local thing to this huge national cultural event that everyone had to be a part of. And just like that, a single movie invented the summer blockbuster. It's probably the most profitable idea Hollywood has ever had. So he completely changed the business of movies. But that's not all. Spielberg's impact goes way beyond the money. He basically invented a new visual language for film. First, he taught us all how to be scared of the water. Next up, he was going to teach us how to feel a sense of awe.
Think about it. Before Close Encounters, what were aliens in movies like? They were almost always the bad guys, right? Invaders. Spielberg just completely flipped that idea on its head. For him, meeting aliens wasn't about a war. It was almost a spiritual thing. It was this amazing conversation, using things everyone understands, music and light. Just like the poster said, we are not alone. And suddenly, that wasn't a scary thought.
And at the very heart of that conversation was this simple 5-note melody. Spielberg literally described it as wanting a doorbell for the universe. And get this, the composer, the legendary John Williams, apparently went through over 300 different combinations before they landed on these 5 perfect notes. And now, you hear it and you instantly know what it means. Friendly, intelligent life is out there.
Okay, fast forward to 1993. He does it again, Jurassic Park. And this was so much more than just a cool dinosaur movie. This was a technological revolution. He took practical effects, the big animatronics, and blended them perfectly with this brand new thing called CGI. And by doing that, he basically showed every filmmaker on Earth that if you can dream it, you can put it on screen. The floodgates for fantasy and sci-fi just burst wide open.
And the coolest part, the movie's impact wasn't just in Hollywood. It literally leaped off the screen and into the real world. It kicked off what people call a dinosaur renaissance. All of a sudden, everyone was obsessed with dinosaurs. Funding for paleontology went up. We started finding new species way faster than before. And why? Because a movie made an entire generation fall in love with these ancient creatures all over again.
So at this point, Spielberg's influence is just massive. He's not just making hit movies and changing business plans, he's literally rewriting the rulebook of Hollywood. I mean, when the system didn't work for the kinds of stories he wanted to tell, he didn't complain. He just built a new system.
So here's the situation in 1984. You've got Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where a guy's heart gets ripped out of his chest. You've got Gremlins, with a creature exploding in a microwave, and both of them were rated PG. Parents were outraged, and you can see why. There was this giant gap, right? The movies were way too scary for little kids, but not quite an R-rated movie. Spielberg called it a netherworld of unfairness, and he was right. It left everyone confused. And check out how fast this all went down. The movies come out in May and June, and the controversy blows up. So what does Spielberg do? He personally picks up the phone and calls the head of the MPAA, the ratings board, and suggests a new rating. By July 1st, it's official. The PG-13 rating exists. Think about that. The man changed the entire industry's rating system in a few weeks with a phone call. That's power.
But for all these huge, world-changing moves, there was something else going on, a personal blueprint behind all the spectacle. To really understand the architect, you gotta understand the man. And hidden inside his biggest, most epic movies was this one theme that kept popping up over and over again.
And that theme was the broken family. I mean, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Think about it. Elliot in E.T., his dad's not around, the families in Close Encounters and War of the Worlds are falling apart. It's this deep, personal thread running through his most famous work. But for decades, nobody really knew why. It was a mystery he held on to for a long, long time.
And then, finally, we got the answer. His 2022 film, The Fabelmans, was basically a memoir. And it was the key that unlocked everything. It revealed that his lifelong obsession with these fractured families came straight from his own childhood, from the trauma of his parents' divorce. Suddenly, it all made sense. All that incredible spectacle, the aliens, the dinosaurs, it was all, at its heart, a way for a kid to try and make sense of his world falling apart. So now it feels like we're coming full circle. He's going back to space. In 2026, he's got a new UFO movie coming out. But you gotta think, this won't be the same hopeful, wide-eyed story from the 70s. We live in a different world now. A world where the government actually talks about UAPs, UFOs. The whole conversation has shifted from what if to what now. I mean, for 50 years, this man has been the architect of what we see when we think of wonder. He taught us how to see sharks, how to see dinosaurs, how to see aliens. He shaped how we imagine our own world and what might be out there. He's still building, still creating, so the only real question left is, what's he going to teach us to see next?